Good morning, everyone. It's Michelle Hill with Southern Inspirations. I hope you're having a great morning so far. Welcome to the show. Today I have two very special guests. Both are realtors. One is from Oxford, Mississippi. Well, they're actually both from Oxford. One's still living in Oxford, and my other guest is a realtor in Jonesboro, Arkansas. And we're going to talk about buying and selling houses, particularly as it pertains to what's going on right now. So I'm going to go ahead and welcome my guests, Joyce Haskins and Jill Cravens. Good morning, ladies.
Morning.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is awesome. This is the only time I get to see my sister, by the way.
Now, come on now. Y'all got to do a little bit better than that. There's FaceTime, there's Skype, there's this platform. You have no excuses, Jill.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. I'm a bad sister.
I'm going to rearrange this a little bit. Just for that, I'm bringing you up front.
Oh, whoa.
So everybody, again, to reintroduce, Joyce Haskins is on screen beside me. She is a realtor in Oxford, Mississippi with Crylike. And her sister, Jill Cravens, you'll see there on the bottom of the screen. She's with Colwell Banker in Jonesboro, Arkansas. And like I said at the opening, we're just going to have a little discussion about real estate and cover some things and kind of some things that you need to know at any time, but particularly right now, as there is some concern and we've all been honoring social distancing. So let's start out. I want to do introductions, and each of you tell our audience a little bit about yourself to kind of set it up. You both have, 20, 25 years, extensive experience in real estate. You're both animal lovers. You both give back to your communities and you volunteer. Y'all have some good genes. We won't get into who does the
I like
best.
to think that anyway.
I won't get that started, but Joyce, would you introduce yourself and tell our viewers a little bit more about your background and who you are and things you love and why you love real estate?
Sure. Well, Jill and both of our parents were realtors long before we were. And through the years, my husband was a naval officer, so we traveled around a lot. During that time, I acquired all of my real estate courses, but didn't really go into real estate until all of my children were school age. But it was just such a great fit for me because I could work around their schedules and still be an active mom that was, involved in their situations in life. But I've been selling real estate for 25 years. When my husband retired from the Navy, we moved back to Oxford, and this is where I really began my career. Even though I did sell for a couple of years on the coast, I went into it full time in about 1997 or 98.
Wow, that's been a long time. Well, for everyone that's watching, I'll just go ahead and put this out there because it's going to come up later. Joyce is my personal realtor in Oxford, Mississippi. We have a second home there that we just listed recently, and Joyce actually helped us find that home. She helped us purchase that home in 2015, and it's been a wonderful season. We've enjoyed it. I've got so much love for Oxford, Mississippi, and have so many wonderful memories in that home. And as tough as it is for me to let it go right now, with all the memories comes the emotion that goes with it. And Joyce understands that. And so she becomes just a true friend to her clients and really whatever the situation might be, because there's all sorts of different reasons and seasons and life changes that cause someone to buy or sell a house. And so I just know firsthand, y'all, if you're in the market on either side for Oxford, I can personally attest. And that's about all I'm going to say about that. So I can hold back the tears.
Just like keep going.
So, oh my gosh, thank you, Joyce. Jill, tell us a little bit about you. I know, again, you're from Oxford, but you've been in Jonesboro for over 20 years, right?
Oh yeah, I grew up in Oxford. I say our parents, our daddy was born and raised in Oxford. Daddy's family grew up in what's called Bailey's Woods, which is kind of behind where the baseball stadium is now. And so we're, true Oxford people. I moved to Jonesboro about 25 years ago to become the marketing director for Indian Mall in Jonesboro. And it was just a good move at the time. I was, needing a change, and it was just time to do something different. And so that's what got us here. The town kind of kept us here. I love Oxford. I love going back to Oxford. I've still got some property in Oxford. Of course, my mom's still there. We lost Dad a few years ago, but anyway, I've been well, let me back up. About 15 years ago, I was working for a guy that owned several furniture stores. He had like a chain of furniture stores, and I was his, I guess, Girl Friday. And he was relocating to Northwest Arkansas, so he gave me plenty of time to find another job. Well, my mother and her harebrained ideas decided that I needed to get into real estate like everybody else. And I was like, I don't think I want to do that. And after some persistence and, encouragement, I guess, from everybody else, I went ahead and took my test and got my license. And it's really been the best thing I've ever done. Like Joyce said, he's 25 now, but I got to spend a lot of time with my son growing up and going to basketball games and things like that. But it's also, become a passion for me, like with Joyce. I love helping people. It's not about selling houses. It's not about making a whole bunch of money, which, we really don't. But anyway, people think that. But anyway, I just love the process, and the favorite people I have are the ones who've never bought a house before. And that's so much fun, to help them and, show them what needs to be done and let me be the expert.
That's right. Well,
so I've been doing about 14 years.
Golly, I can only imagine the life stories that you ladies have heard and got to be a part of, whether it's a first time home buyer and just that excitement that goes along with that and walking through that with, say, a young couple, a new family, and being a part of that experience. To folks like me who I've had owned several homes, but for me this is the end of a season and it's a second home, and but it's still an experience, and then everything in between. People buying homes for family members or just various different reasons. You really do have an opportunity to have some unique relationships.
Well, that's the good part too. We start out in their first home, and 2 or 3 years later, they're ready to move on to their next home. And then, 5 or 6 years later, they're ready for their permanent home. So, and then their cousins want a house, or their mother wants a house, or the brother wants a house. So that's how the relationships are built.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about just generally speaking, the benefits of using a realtor, because and I have attempted at different times to do a for sale by owner, and there's pros and cons obviously to both sides, but with you ladies having the knowledge and the background, being a realtor broker level, what are just some of the things that y'all offer that really presents itself as an advantage over a person trying to sell their home on their own? Joyce, what would you say to that?
Well, I would say that we adhere to a strict code of ethics, whereas if you're a for sale by owner and you're representing yourself, you're letting anybody off the street come and negotiate with you, and you don't really know. You don't have any information about their background or any of those things. All right, the Realtor Code of Ethics helps us, work with other realtors. We have certain guidelines that we can, or that we, adhere to. Well, another realtor will bring in a buyer. Well, we, go the extra mile to make sure these people are qualified, that they are who they say they are.
Mm-hmm.
We negotiate the contracts for you. We're actually that buffer between you and a buyer that gives you protection, that gives the buyer side protection, and that's the benefit of the realtor, using a realtor. Now, my husband is not a realtor, and he would like every now and then to do things for sale by owner, and I say absolutely not. I mean, we know better, so we're not doing, that sort of thing. So that's, to me, that's a lot of the benefit of that. And also, once you have a realtor who is a seasoned realtor, we have access to the good closing attorneys, the home inspectors, the termite inspectors, and all those things. And there are people that we have used over time, so it's not like you're jumping out to a first-time situation with a lender or attorney or those types of inspections.
Right. Yeah. And Jill, I know with you, in addition to being with Coldwell Banker there in Jonesboro, you are also co-owner of Regent's School of Real Estate. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
You have an opportunity then to be a part of individuals who are interested in getting into the real estate market, right?
Yes, and I love that part of it, Michelle. When I started with my business partner, her name's Dixie Reginald, she talked a little bit to me about it, and I said, I've always wanted to teach new realtors, how to be the best realtor they can be. And not to cut down anybody, but if you don't have that basic training, to start out with, you're going to fail. You're just going to fail.
Yeah. What do you tell? I'm real curious when you have someone brand new and they're trying to build up their book of business. Of course, we all know about good old fashioned networking and starting with friends and family.
Sure.
But beyond that, if we have someone watching who has been thinking about stepping into the real estate world, if their mother said, you need to go do this.
I know.
What is some advice that you would give someone that's thinking about it or just starting out?
Well, real estate is a really tough business, and I don't know. I know a little bit about the market in Oxford, but Jonesboro, when I started real estate, there was about 350 agents, and right now there's close to 600. So it's a tough business to be in. You have to have a lot of money saved up, or you have to have a second income to start. You can't just dive right off into it. Just to pay your dues up front, it's something like $1,200. The classes start at $500. You just have to have a cushion built up so that, if it takes you 2 or 3 months to sell your first house, you've got something to live off of. But, it's not as easy as, some of us may look. We try to, but it's really a tough business. And like Joyce said, if you don't have the expertise behind you, the people that help you through the process, it's tough. It's really tough, holding things together. But anybody firsthand, I would say, make sure you have a bank account with I would start out with at least $4,000 or $5,000 in it, if not more. But also, you're talking about networking. When I started, I just wrote down every single person I knew, every, top to bottom, started A, B, C, D. That was back when we had a phone book too. You could go through the phone book and start marking people off. But I also started with my church directory, and I just wrote down everybody I knew, started sending business cards and, personal note cards and things like that. And it just built from there.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I recognized about both of you ladies, and I've seen other realtors do this, is finding your own niche, your own edge of the market, so to speak. So I know as a broker, for the village community there in Jonesboro, that's a way that you can kind of separate yourself a little bit from the rest of the real estate market. And Joyce, I know for you, you are a relocation specialist there with Crylike, and you also work with the elder population with some shut-ins, and then through your volunteer experience, you have exposure. So I think both of you seem to have developed I mean, obviously with a willingness to help everyone, regardless, but you kind of chosen areas of specialization. Joyce, anything to say on that?
Well, it is, and I had talked to you about this maybe a couple of months ago about the way I fell into helping some of the elderly people in Oxford from when they're transitioning from their home into assisted living. But it's also the sphere of influence type thing. I helped this one individual. Well, this individual's told someone else, and that's how it snowballs a little bit into what I'm doing today. But that bottom or that core value of the sphere of influence, like Jill was talking about, that doesn't just cross over to my elderly clients. That's like she said, from A to Z, write down everyone you know, and
Right.
stay in contact with those people, because you can send all the postcards you want to send, but 90% of people are going to ask for a referral from one of their friends and family, instead of going to their mailbox and getting just a postcard. And each one of us, when we buy a product off the internet, we always look at those reviews to the right. Well, nobody's going to buy anything from something that's got 1 star. That's a little bit about what the sphere of influence is. If you have someone who loves you dearly and you've done a great job for them over the years, of course they're going to give you high recommendations to someone else. And that's the kind of referral you want right there.
That's exactly
Absolutely.
right. Yeah. Just that consistent relationship and consistent building, like you said, that sphere of influence, and keeping that networking going on, and providing that good quality customer service over and over and over again, and word of mouth and all of those things that go with it. It's so important. Well, y'all, let's talk about the current state that we're in. Obviously, a pandemic there has left none of us untouched across the world, so including real estate and the need for physical distancing to be safe. What are some of the things, Joyce, that y'all have done? I know you've shared some of those with me, and y'all are probably doing the similar things with just exercise and some safety precautions, so that buyers and sellers can both feel safe and healthy during this time.
Well, I haven't really embraced technology over the years. I don't really like social media at all, but I'm trying to get over that. We are really exercising a lot of the virtual tours. And I've done a couple of things, but I've had agents who have called me who want to go preview my vacant listings, and they're filming the interior of the homes specifically for what their buyer needs, and we'll email them the link and those sort of things. But I think Jill and I both were exercising caution when we're showing a home. We'll have the homeowner leave the house if there's actually someone there, and just follow up behind the buyer. Go in and make sure the light switches are turned off and cleaned, and the doorknobs are wiped down, and those type of things. But I think this electronic signatures, the virtual tours, we've even had curbside closings at at closing attorneys' offices, so that people don't have to get together in one room. So there are ways around that. So I don't think that we've really suffered, that much in Oxford.
Right.
Yeah. How about what's kind of going on in Jonesboro? A lot of the same type practices.
Yes, that's really a lot that's going on here. Now, Jonesboro had a tornado a couple of 2-3 weeks ago. So,
right.
we had already started going through the COVID crisis, but then the tornado hit. So we had several people. I can't remember how many houses. I want to say 600 houses that were affected. So we had a lot of homeless people. So we had people having to find a house in the middle of all this.
Right.
So just like Joyce said, you just do the best you can. I mean, people need houses. So we just, take the hand sanitizer, keep our distance, wipe down knobs and light fixtures, and, do what you can.
Absolutely. Y'all, I've jumped over to the comments. I want to have an opportunity for y'all to say hello back to some folks. Jill Clarkston said good morning. And Kevin Duhan, hey Kevin, I just met Kevin recently via online. We built a relationship. Karen, Love Lady Owen, and
We know her.
yeah, he said, hello y'all, great job. Bill's birds are joining in too. I was gonna say that earlier. Joyce, you're gonna have to
Crazy Brazil. I started out here on my porch and look. It's pouring rain. I don't know
Oh
if
my
y'all
goodness.
I have to go inside.
Oh my goodness. What else, ladies, you say to encourage buyers or sellers? I mean, whichever one just during this time may be hesitant to either start looking for a home or to put a home on the market. What are just some ways that you could encourage them not to run from it just because we're in this time?
Right.
Well,
Joyce, you gonna go first?
I guess last week I had a young man that was very upset about losing his job and was ready to put his house on the market, kind of panic selling and all of those things. And I, tried to talk him a little bit out of that right now. Let's just don't do anything hasty. But there is a part of that CARES Act that is, Corona Aid Relief and Economic Securities Act. There's a provision in there for mortgage forbearance where now it doesn't forgive your mortgage payments, but if you have lost your job because of the COVID-19 epidemic, there are provisions in that act that will allow you to put off those mortgage payments. And what you would need to do is go to your mortgage lender, whoever services your mortgage, and talk to them about that. And I would suggest doing that before you miss any payments. And if you can make any kind of payment, pay your taxes and insurance. So at the end, your escrow will not be compromised at the end of the year. But they are I wouldn't say it's a refinance, but they will reconstruct it a little bit so that you could pay those late payments or additional payments either at the end of 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, or even at the end of your loan. So I would say that to sellers right now. Don't do anything drastic that way. And I know I'm taking a sale right out of my listing things, but I mean, let's just be smart about it. We don't have to do that. That's a last resort. But houses are selling. We are only. I think from this time last year, we have only closed 10 fewer houses than we did this same period of time last year. So that's not drastic.
Right.
So if you were planning to move and list and sell your house, my advice is let's get over this shelter in place, and as soon as it's over, let's get the ball rolling.
Yeah. Anything to add to that, Jill?
I kind of feel the same way. We are in a big seller's market here, so anytime a house comes on the market, it's gone. If it's a good property, it's going to be gone in 24 hours. It's just not going to last.
Yeah.
And I guess my motto is if it's let's see, we got location, condition, and price. If those three things align, that house is not going to last. So we've got a shortage of houses right now, as a matter of fact, in Jonesboro. I didn't hear everything Joyce said because the rain's beating down on my tin roof. But we're down from, I think we had about 870 houses listed about this time last year, and we're down to 801. So the inventory is way down. So people are they're bored, they're online, they're looking at houses, and we laughed yesterday because we're thinking people are probably saying this house is too dang small for me, I need a bigger one.
Yeah, but not used to everybody being in it so much at the same time.
Yeah, it's time to upgrade, we need a bigger house. So
yeah. Wow.
One other thing, Michelle, I'd like to add. if you are looking for assistance, make sure you are talking to a reputable representative. There's a website called coronavirus.gov/coronavirus.
Hold on, I'm going to go ahead and type that in. So tell me that again so I can put it on the screen.
Coronavirus.gov
Okay.
/coronavirus.
I'm going to pop that up and tell me if that looks right.
That's exactly right.
Okay, and tell us about that.
If you need help with, extending your mortgage payment, call your service provider that's on your slip where you pay your mortgage note to make sure you're really in contact with the correct person you need to speak with, or this government agency, because I've even seen postcards from people that are getting in the mail offering to purchase your house during the COVID-19, blah, blah. It's not real. Some of these are not real. There might be someone out there that's really doing that, that's legitimate, but there's probably 10 more that are not.
That's true.
Yeah, gotcha.
So just check your source, make sure it's legitimate.
Right, absolutely. Ladies, this has been wonderful. Lots of good information for every day, not just during a pandemic, and then some great advice. Thank you again, Joyce, for that website. Anything else? Any last words before we close out?
Thank you for having us.
I can't think of anything.
People are brave enough to have us on screen at the same time.
I know, right? The funny thing is you never know what either one of us are going to say. So putting us both together was very brave, Michelle.
Well, yeah, I'm so proud of y'all.
Thank you so much, Michelle.
And we'll talk offline about all those birds after though.
Oh, yeah. Right. Sorry about that.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you both again. I appreciate your time, your commitment to the industry, commitment with excellence. Both companies, Coldwell Banker there in Jonesboro and Crye in Oxford, I know find you to be incredible assets. You're giving the industry a good name out there, and I'm just honored to have you as a part of Southern Inspirations broadcast. And for everyone who is watching, and we'll share this later, thank you. Thank you for your continued support of Southern Inspirations, as my heart and motivation is to bring relevant, educational, informative content. So please let me know if you know of other stories that should be told, particularly as it pertains to nonprofits, because I do hold a special place in my heart for those as well. So again, thank you all very much. Have a wonderful Thursday. Be safe, be healthy, and tune in tomorrow for Fruitful Friday. It's every Friday at 1 o'clock. I'll see y'all then. Have a great day. Bye-bye, ladies.